I know I have to file my business as its own separate entity, and I know I'm not doing very much business in the process. So why do I need to put forth the effort to write some sort of report? Business Questions Answered here, episode number 25. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Payne. I am a personal and professional development specialist. I have an MBA, and most importantly, I have made lots of mistakes in over 20 plus years of working on and worrying about the management of my own small businesses and entrepreneurial endeavors. I would like to help you by allowing you to learn from my personal mistakes, my decades worth of study and research, and some insights from other business people and entrepreneurs that I know. To submit your question, please visit our website, businessquestionsansweredhere.com. This episode is sponsored by My Company Works. More on our sponsor in a moment, but first, this week's question. This week we hear from Jasper, who doesn't necessarily want to do his homework, or in this case, doesn't want to file a report for his business, his annual report. Here's the question as he sent it to us. I took a leap of faith on my side hustle and registered it as an LLC. But since the move to look more professional did not bring any significant new business, I'm wondering if I should have just lit the setup fees on fire. Taxes are paid for next year. Fees are paid as well. But there is the option to file an annual report if the bulk of the report will read, barely made enough money to pay the government, the right to pay the government. What do I really get out of drafting an annual report? All right, Jasper. So thank you for the question. And this is actually a more serious question than maybe he posed it, or more serious than maybe he thinks, on doing an annual report. There are the options in most cases if you file an LLC and have to, or a real corporation. If it's a full corporation, you've got to file these reports because it's a part of the articles of incorporation. But you have an LLC and you're basically paying your taxes more or less along the lines with your actual income tax, your personal income tax. The report isn't all that necessary from a standpoint of the government keeping an eye on you. If you're paying your taxes and you're not cheating on them, they're getting a fair share of their cut when you look at the returns. They don't particularly care how the business operates, as long as it operates as an actual business. And if it's making actual money, you are giving them their cut. And if it's not making any money, you are attempting to operate as a viable business. You just may be having hard times or something catastrophic happened. But as long as you are acting as a business, and that sounds kind of basic, but sometimes these things are really tax dodges. In a lot of cases, a LLC is a good way to save some tax money. And you're moving it along and trying to actually make some money in that, not just shave off money off your taxes, then the government doesn't necessarily care about the report. Now, if you do have investors who are looking for how things are running, you will need to have some sort of report filed. It should be filed publicly with the government, with the state government in your filing for your franchises fees, and all is said and done. That's if you're looking to get bigger, gain bigger clients and whatnot. They're looking to see how professional you are. Now, let's say you're in Jasper's case, or you're in my case. You say, I don't have a lot of going on in my business. We're not making it rain by any standard or mark. So why exactly are you putting forth an annual report? Well, I do an annual report, and it is essentially the internal monthly report gathered together so that I know what I'm going month to month. I know internally inside my business what's coming in, what's going out, what we're producing, and what we're not producing at the moment, and how well the products are working out on those standpoints. So I know how much time I spend in the studio for podcasts per month because I have to account for that. I know how much I'm spending for fees for hosting and for website things and for just general paying people to get things done as well. I know how much I'm spending on my personal expenses to make sure things happen that don't necessarily get counted into the business parts of business. That's, getting to lunch, getting around town, things like that, how much expense is going on, and how much I'm paying for things that are in the quote unquote tax savings of what's going on. I have a gym membership that goes into the business because I use my fitness as part of the fitness things we do for the business. I have memberships to different services that are used to help. They're tools to make things work out, so I know what's going on. My monthly report tells me internally what's going on. And then if I have a monthly report that is filed as a larger report. I can see what happened for the year. And of course, I can see what happened month to month, year to year. So a better way to say that is I can compare different months in different years and track how things are going, or maybe see something coming up, forecast things ahead based on how things go in different months and different quarters, if you will. So that moves on to the quarterly report, making that public as well, so that you can necessarily show your work to people who are looking for that information. If you have a business partner or business partners, or just want to get business partnerships in certain things, even if it's not money working back and forth, even if they just want to see how well you're working, how well you're doing, so they know that if you're going to join them in this venture, you are viable, you have a report that's already ready to go. You can offer up a quarterly report, which is, of course, 3 months of a year, which gives a good chunk of idea how your business goes per quarter in a good span of time. That's not a long span of time. You don't give them the full year, and you don't give them just 1 month. 3 months, a quarter is a good indicator of how things are going. You can watch how things are going and kind of progress how things can look for in the cooperation. Maybe that 3 months is a great quarter and they can see that you'll be a great fit for them. Maybe that 3 months doesn't look so great and they'll decide otherwise, which may be a good thing. Sometimes you want people to not join up with you if they don't think they can help you out or you don't help them out. If it's not mutually exclusive, then it doesn't really work out. But the ability to show your work is always a great thing when people need to see something. And a quarterly report is a great idea there. That could be internal. That should be actually public, but internal as well. So let's move on to what he actually asked about filing his annual report. This is a really big deal because this is your yearly report card, not just your monthly statements, not just your quarterly show your work. This is the actual come to Jesus meeting that you have to have with the people that are investors, with the state if you have some sort of dispute, they don't think you're operating much as a business, or just with yourself and the people who love you and care about you and wonder why you're spending all this money and time doing this thing. This professionally done annual report, and it doesn't have to be glossy and shiny. It just has to look professional and give the information not as a bunch of scribbles, but in strict detail on what happened. It's going to show your yearly progress in one scope. So you stack them up year to year, and you see how you go from year to year and how things progressed, how things maybe regressed, and maybe find a way to go forward from there. If you are a major corporation, a C Corp, it must be filed publicly, of course. If you're an LLC and you're doing this basically as a side hustle, as a way to save on taxes in your business, it doesn't necessarily have to be filed, but you probably want to have something that is ready to go just in case you are pressed on it. Filing it makes it that much better. And the big thing that becomes the broken record of this episode, if you want to have investors or people of means and interest to actually give you some means and interest in your work, you've got to play like a big boy. So I know you called it a side hustle or called it upping your side hustle game, Jasper, by making it an LLC. But if you're moving up to the big boy leagues, you got to play with the big boy leagues. You got to play by their rules. This is no longer a side hustle. This is a legit business. And this is maybe hurting you that it didn't really grow by calling yourself an LLC because maybe you didn't have everything ready to go for this year. But now you're already in the game. You're in the pipeline. Things are going. Now's the time to build upon what you need to make this thing go global or go national or just get out of your neighborhood to make it go bigger. And to do that, you got to play by the big boy rules. And one of the most simple, easy ways to make yourself look a little larger than you are is to come up with a really nice and shiny, glossy annual report. It doesn't have to say very much. It just has to look professional and look well done and say just the right amount of things to let them know that you're actually running a business, not just doing some things on the side when you get a couple minutes. That is the importance of the annual report. For the bulk of it, it doesn't mean much if you're not making much money. So if it's a hassle to do, then don't really focus on the doing part of it. That's fine. If it really is that tough to do, don't push on getting it into anything particularly massive. But it shows that you're playing the game the way it should be played. It shows that you're actually taking this on as a serious thing. And it shows that you're keeping track of what's going on, not just having receipts here or there in the last minute pulling together your tax stuff. Trust me, I've been there. You don't want to do that. If you're keeping track along the way, it's easy to put it together in a larger report. If you have a larger report, it's easy to hand to someone who is doubting your work because you have a report that says what's going on, and you're not scrambling to come up with some crazy idea in crazy format to make sure it looks good. You are telling the truth, and you have it ready to go. So from that point, you need to have some sort of annual report type something ready to hand over. If it's not really worth the effort, if you're a one-man show and you're not doing very much in the business, it may not be worth the effort to going to paying more money for a nice glossy report to come through. But a 3-4 page rundown summary of what you did this year, what didn't work out this year, the things you're looking to go for next year, and your basic numbers, your what came in, what went out, is all you need. And we have word processors, we have computers. It's easy to type something up, put a pretty font on it, and format it so it looks nice and cute. Use the standard report cover from your word processor and move on. And Jasper, that's how I answer your question this week. I say it is not so important to file that report probably, but if you're going to go ahead and do it, go ahead and file it. And I say it's important to do it so you have your report card for your year to show other people, and more importantly, to show yourself that you really are doing this thing as a real, live, good, cool business, and that even though things aren't on the up at the moment, you know where up is and you plan on going there. If you want your question answered here on the podcast, just like Jasper's, it's very simple. Go to the website, businessquestionsansweredhere.com, and submit your question there. Right now, I want to pause for just a minute and talk about this week's sponsor, and it is My Company Works, formerly known as My New Company, because they create new companies. Literally, we're talking about the LLC process for Jasper, and that's what they do. You can incorporate or form an LLC for as low as $79 plus whatever your state fee is. You figure out what type of entity is going to work best for you. You find your state so you know what the fees are, and they have pricing packages available to cover everything. It's very simple. It's very easy, and you can make it the bonanza, super duper big, glossy corporation, or a small, tiny LLC to use to save some money on your side business, but make sure you put it in a business sense, as we just answered. It'll also help you manage your company assets with different packages as well. So check them out. They've helped over 50,000 companies since 2001, so they might be the company to help you get your real company established. So check them out at our website, businessquestionsansweredhere.com/mycompanyworks, businessquestionsansweredhere.com/mycompanyworks for a great deal from them through us. They are My Company Works, helping you get your company to work since 2001. So now a question we're going to ask for you. We're looking for you to give us comments in the comments for this podcast this week. Go to businessquestionsansweredhere.com/025 and answer us this. How frequent do you do reviews and evaluations? And we're going to ask you straight up, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, day to day, or some other weird combination of time. I don't know, but that's the question this week. How frequently do you do your reviews and evaluations for your business? Let us know, and you also let us know how well it works for you. I know I do a weekly review of what I've gone through in the week, and then that turns into a monthly report, which turns into a quarterly rundown, which is basically a reformatting of the monthly reports, and then a larger write-up for the annual report that turns into paragraphs, narratives of how things worked out in different cases, plus the numbers that were reestablished, a little cleaner, more compact for the monthly reports, all for the year. And that's how I close up my year with my annual report, which gets filed when I do my taxes. So thank you for listening to this podcast, and make sure you subscribe using your favorite podcast app or service to ensure you never miss a new episode. Once again, to submit your question or send comments, please visit our website, businessquestionsansweredhere.com. You can send me emails at businessquestionsansweredhere@gmail.com. For more information on my other projects, check out my main website, jclevelandpayne.net. And of course, we'll be back soon with even more business questions answered here.